Henry Ford made one decision that saved him thousands of hours of mental energy. He stopped choosing, not randomly, not carelessly. He identified every unnecessary decision in his production process and eliminated it. The result wasn't just faster cars, it was a clearer mind. Most people burn 80% of their mental capacity on decisions that don't matter. Today, you're going to learn Ford's rule for eliminating mental waste and how to apply it to your own work. Here's what's happening. Every time you make a decision, you consume cognitive resources. Should I answer this email now or later? Which task should I start with? What's the best approach for this problem? Each choice, no matter how small, creates friction. Ford understood this in 1913. He noticed that his workers were exhausted not from physical labor, but from constant micro-decisions. Which tool to use? Which sequence to follow? Which method was faster? The variability was killing efficiency, not because workers were incompetent, but because decision-making is expensive. Your brain treats every choice as a problem to solve. The more choices you face, the more energy you burn. This is the gargalo most people never see. You think flexibility equals intelligence. You believe that having options makes you more capable. Ford thought the opposite. He looked at his factory and asked, where are people making decisions that don't need to be made? The answer was everywhere. Workers debated the best way to attach a component. Engineers redesigned parts based on personal preference. Suppliers delivered materials in varying specifications. Each variation required a decision. Each decision consumed time and mental energy. Stop here. Ford's insight wasn't about removing human judgment. It was about identifying which decisions actually mattered and which were pure waste. Most of your daily choices fall into the waste category. Standardize everything that doesn't require strategic thinking. Ford didn't eliminate all decisions. He eliminated the ones that didn't create value. He kept the decisions that mattered. What product to build, which markets to enter, how to price the Model T. But he ruthlessly standardized everything else. One color, one model, one method. This wasn't rigidity. This was conservation of cognitive resources. When you remove unnecessary decisions, you free up mental capacity for the choices that actually matter. The rule is simple. Identify what requires real judgment and standardize everything else. Most people do the opposite. They customize trivial details and rush through strategic decisions. Here's how you apply Ford's rule. Step 1. Map your recurring decisions. For one day, write down every choice you make related to your work. What to wear, when to start, which task first, how to structure a document, which email to answer, what method to use. You'll be surprised how many decisions you're making that don't need to exist. Most people make 50+ micro decisions before they even start real work. Each one drains energy. Ford mapped every decision point in his factory and found that 90% were unnecessary. Your ratio is probably similar. Step 2. Identify strategic versus operational decisions. Strategic decisions shape outcomes. What goal to pursue, which client to prioritize, how to solve a complex problem. Operational decisions are about execution. What time to start work, what tool to use, what format to follow. Strategic decisions require your full cognitive capacity. Operational decisions should be standardized. Ford kept strategic control. He decided what car to build, but standardized operational execution. Workers didn't debate how to install a part. The method was fixed. You do the same. Keep the decisions that create value. Standardize the ones that don't. Step 3. Build your standard operating procedures. Write down your default choices for everything operational. Your work start time, your task sequence, your meeting structure, your communication format. This isn't about being inflexible. It's about removing friction. When you have a standard method, you don't waste energy deciding. You execute. Standardize everything that doesn't require strategic thinking. Ford reduced the decision burden on workers by 90%. They didn't think about how to do the work. They thought about quality control and problem solving. You do the same. Remove the cognitive noise so you can focus on what matters. Real example. In 1914, Ford standardized the entire Model T production process. Same parts, Same sequence, same tools. Workers complained at first. They thought it was dehumanizing. But productivity increased 400%, not because workers moved faster, but because they stopped wasting mental energy on trivial choices. One worker said he used to spend the first hour of his shift deciding how to organize his station. After standardization, he started producing immediately. His mental energy went into precision and quality, not into setup decisions. The result was better work and less exhaustion. You can do the same with your work. Let's say you write reports every week. Instead of deciding format, structure, and style each time, create a template. Same sections, same order, same formatting. Now, when you sit down to write, you don't waste cognitive resources on structure. You focus entirely on content. Your mental capacity stays fresh. Your output improves. This is what Ford understood. Decision-making is a resource. Treat it like one. Mental waste isn't about working too hard. It's about spending cognitive energy on decisions that don't matter. Ford didn't become successful by thinking more. He became successful by eliminating unnecessary thinking. He standardized the trivial so he could focus on the strategic. You can do the same. Look at your recurring decisions. Identify the ones that don't require judgment. Standardize them. The mental clarity you gain will transform your work. Ford once said, "Thinking is the hardest work there is," which is probably the reason so few engage in it. He wasn't being cynical. He was being precise. Real thinking, strategic, creative, problem-solving thinking requires energy. If you waste that energy on operational noise, you'll never have enough left for the decisions that matter. Eliminate the waste. Keep the strategy. That's the rule that built Ford Motor Company. And it's the rule that will unlock your